Boop. This time we're starting with a little diorama base. So just grab some aluminum foil and your bacon bond, lube it all up and stick it all down. This is always a messy part of the process. I'm using some ultralight Sculpey and some super glue here. Then you'll just want to grab your clay and put it over the top. This is so that I can fill it out without wasting all my Primo clay. It's also a lot lighter too. Okay, now you want to grab your aluminum wire. I'm just going to make a couple of little tree stumps. I'm not sure if I'll decorate these later or not with some cherry blossom flowers. We'll just have to wait and see. Alright, now you're just going to want to chuck that little base into the oven, 130 degrees Celsius or 275 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's nice and rock hard, we can come in and start making the armature for Haku. I just start off with a long foil sausage, and I just keep playing with the shape until I'm happy with it. Back to the aluminum wire. We're just going to want to make some limbs for Haku. I'm going to kind of make it look like he is sort of climbing down the rocks. Now when you're happy with the shape of your armature for your dragon, you can start coming in and decorating the diorama base. I'm starting off with some browns here for the rock face. The best part about polymer clay is that it's coloured already, so you don't have to worry about coming in and painting it later. I find that it saves a lot of time that way. Okay, now just grab a scrunched up bowl of foil, a bowl, and lightly dab over the brown clay. So this will give it kind of like a little bit of a rocky cliff texture. And next I'm going to want to add in just some little rocks. So I've just got my granite clay here. And you can just scatter them all over the place. You could probably actually use real rocks for this if you wanted to. And next we're coming in with some green clay. This is for the grassy, slopey, sort of mossy areas. I always do sort of a patchy pattern when it comes to my dioramas. It sort of like gives the variety of colour in the clay more excitement. It's almost like painting with polymer clay. Then with your brush tool, just come in and tease the clay so that it has sort of a grassy sort of texture. This part takes ages to do. And when you're happy with your diorama base, I like to go in with my pan pastels and give it a little bit of a dust. It sort of brings all the colours together a little bit nicer. It gives a bit of a nice shade. You of course don't have to do this step, but I am obsessed with my pastels and I absolutely have to. I find it really blends the colours together a lot better since I use such a patchy method when I apply the clay. And you'll want to put the base in the oven again for another bake. This is so we don't squash all that hard work we just done. Now after a good clean of your desk, pull out your white clay and we'll want to start applying it to the armature for Haku. Once it's on the body, you can start smoothing it down. I just use my fingers. You can use tools as well. They will help get into all the little nooks and crannies. And then I'm just grabbing my dental pick tool and just giving it a little bit of a furry texture, because our lovely Haku is kind of like a fluffy puppy dog. Now we're going to start working on the head shape. So I baked the body before so I don't squash any of the details, and now we're coming in and doing the head. I've got some eyes here that I've bought off Etsy. You're going to want to give him some eyebrows, so just come in with a little bit of extra clay and start sculpting it and shaping it on top of the eye. When you're happy with that, don't forget to give him his nose and of course his mouth. And a little bit of fur around the edges. Now before I go into too much detail on the head, I like to stick it onto the rest of the body. So I just cut out a little hole at the back and just push it onto the body. This is so that I don't squash the details later if I add more of them. Now you want to blend the head with the body by giving him a bit of a neck. Okay, now he's getting his ears. And of course, the horns. So I just twist a couple of pieces of gold clay here together for those. And to make sure they don't bend, snap, crack, etc., I stick a bit of wire in. When you're happy with how the heads come out, I'm going in and once again with my pen pastels to give his nose and ears a little bit of a pink tinge, and the top of his nose that grey colouring. You could use paint if you wanted to, but I'm a pen pastel queen. Now I'm just doing the little tree stumps that are on the diorama base. I decided to stay away from the cherry blossoms, and we're just going with sort of like a little broken tree stump design. Once again, out with the pen pastels and give it a good dusting. These are just kind of an extra detail for Haku to twist around. Now I'm going to do his tummy. Stick on some bacon bund and then cut yourself a long piece of clay. Now I've made this piece pretty thick so that I can come in and spread it across his belly, make sure that it covers everything. And then back to my trusty dental pick tool, and we're just giving some little lines along his tummy. Now on to my least favourite part of the dragon, and the most daunting part, is working on the green fur that goes along his back. So I decided to go with this method, which was pretty time consuming, but the end result looked pretty good. I just kept coming in and teasing the tips of the hair with the dental pick tool, and I even used scissors and my scalpel knife a couple of times to cut out extra bits. Now for the tail, we're going to use the same techniques. I just cut a piece, or I should say a lump of clay that will fit around the shape of the tail, and once again teased it with my dental pick tool. Once you're happy with that shape, come in with your bacon bond and stick it onto your dragon. They start to look pretty good now. Just a quick test fit on the diorama to make sure that the hair, the trees and everything are working right. And then we get started on the legs. So back in with the white clay. And I've made this really cute pink tingy colour for his legs and his feet. Just keep fiddling with the clay until you're happy with the shape. I grab my scalpel tool here and we start figuring out where we want his little toes and feet, claws, etc. to go. give them a little bit of detail with a knife. Wrinkle them up. Another test fit on the diorama. We want to make sure that this particular claw is sort of holding onto the edge of that rock face. And a couple of more scales for along the top of the legs. When you're happy with that part, do the final bit of fur that's going to go between the shoulder and the arm, I guess. I'm not very good with my dragon anatomy. And just smooth that piece in. And you can come in and fluff it up like we did with the rest of the body. Ta-da! I've just got some brown clay here that I'm using for some claws. And then once again another test fit. I've done all the other legs behind the camera. Sneaky, sneaky, magic, magic. And the last touch are his long curly whiskers. So I'm using some cosplay here because it will be able to put up with bend and flex. And into the oven for a final bake. Thank you so much for watching my video on how to make Haku, the dragon from the movie Spirited Away. I'd like to give a big shout out and a huge thank you to all my beautiful patrons. And if you'd like to learn more tutorials from me, see more behind the scenes goodies, or even win some giveaways, be sure to check out my Patreon, details in the description below. Make sure you check out these cool videos that I've already done on some dragons and other cool bits and bobs. But until next time, I'll boop you later. See ya!